Beep, 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 beep. Welcome to the court of the Edijester. How are we doing, good people? Now, he says, let's talk about new organisations and new thinking, right? So I love the idea or the concept that organisations are, for example, now beginning to turn away from things like, ESG goals and all the political nonsense and shenanigans that businesses have been dragged into through EDI or DIE, or whatever you want to call it, DIE, whatever they call it these days. Businesses have been dragged into arenas they shouldn't be in. For example, you've got, organisations that are meant to be set up to be doing one thing are rattling on about all sorts of other things. So I'm quite intrigued to see when we get organisations come through that are attempting to do something different. And I think it's fair to say that amplifying their voices is probably a good idea. So today is going to sound like an advert, right? But it's not, although it is. Things can be two things at once. You can cope. Parallel process. You can cope, right? So in other words, what I'm saying is there are two organisations that have come on my radar that I think are interesting because of what they're attempting to do. And I think you'll find them interesting too. But not only that, they're organisations that you might want to work with, right? So first off, we're going to talk about the women. We're going to talk about the women, right? Okay. So I've seen that there is an organisation that is dealing with security. And they are called Labris Security. And they've been set up by two friends. I've got links and everything in the doobers, so you can go and explore a bit more. They've been set up by two friends, both of whom you can see here. Look at those broads. They're going to hate me for saying that, aren't they? They've been set up by two friends who are concerned about what happens, for example, at events like Let Women Speak, or if, for example, the women's rights networks get together, or anybody is having an event of any kind in which security is important because of mad LARPing, critical social justice, nut jobs, or whatever it may be. But Labris Security, and I'll just read a bit of their bump here, has been established to provide first-class security services and volunteer stewards training. So not only will they offer security service, they also do training for volunteers. Now, I've been out and about when the women's are doing their thing, right? And so Let Women Speak, and I go and sit there and have a beer and watch them, actually a glass of wine, but there we go. And see what they're doing. And you've got lots of people who are volunteer stewards. So they're going around in the old high-vis jackets, doing the thing, right? So they're stewards, but they're volunteers. So not only do they offer security in its own right, they also offer training, vital training, to volunteers, which I think is very important. So that's another thing. If people are volunteering to be stewards, go and have a word with Labris. I'd just like to say it's a bit close to labia, isn't it, ladies? Right? Go and have a chat with Labris, if that's got something to do with it. I'm waiting till I'm seeing you and you can tell me, right? And so they're able to also do the volunteer stewards training, and this is for events across the UK. Now, the aim is to ensure that the attendees at the events feel safe and secure, whatever their previous life experience or vulnerabilities are. And we do this by they use exclusively all female security teams. All female security teams. Now, I've been to these things, and people often say to me, when are the men going to turn up? And I've always said, I'm not sure that's what you want. And the reason I said that I'm not sure that's what you want is because it's all right for men to turn up and sit around on the sidelines having a coffee or a beer and just watching, seeing what's happening, making sure everything's okay. But if you bring men into the milieu, you will fundamentally change the tenor of the whole thing. And so it's what's that called? It's a dilemma, isn't it? It's a dilemma of whether it's a good thing or whether it's a bad thing to bring the men in. So, whilst our business is a female-led security volunteer steward conflict resolution advice provider with an emphasis on working to make women and girls feel safe whilst attending events, etc., we are more than happy to work with you and provide security for mixed events too. Now, having women doing security is a really interesting idea and a really novel way of saying there is something about women in security that makes the situation change if there's a problem, because it's women. Right, it makes it men, right? Now, I've known women door staff for years. You are lovely. How are you? I haven't seen you for a while. Bruisers, right? They have none of your nonsense. But the nonsense tends to be different from men if the woman on the door, if the bouncer on the door is a woman. It's a really interesting dynamic, and there's something in this. I think it's a very clever idea. So our exclusive use of all female security professionals is centered around our belief that de-escalation is the primary goal to any conflicts that might arise whilst carrying out our duties. And it is our experience that this is greatly enhanced by the calming influence of women. I agree. Right? So please do go and check out Labris Security. The link's in the Dubris. And if you need somebody for an event, or you're running an event and you want some security, this looks to me to be the people to talk to, specifically around the very things that you and I are concerned about, gender and nonsense like that, and all these LARPing men in dresses. So this looks like the people who are the go-to. So I was very interested to also discover, right, that there is a new organisation called fairjob.co.uk, which Labris Security might want to join, funny enough, who is actually an HR agency, so which are aiming to depoliticise the UK workplace and make work a fairer, kinder and more inclusive environment where everyone can rub along together and perform their jobs effectively. What they're trying to do is restore common sense and pragmatic HR, human resources, and EDI, helping employers depoliticise their workspaces. Now, this is very important as well. So this is really interesting. These two things are both interesting to me. Because you may or you may not remember the Coinbase memo, a famous memo that was put out by the head of Coinbase, who said, we are no longer doing any of this critical social justice nut jobbery. I'm ending it all. And if you're not happy to work for a company that doesn't do this stuff, then you can leave. And I'll pay you a salary, your year's salary, and you can go. And it was reckoned that he lost 3% of, I think, 5,000 employees, and he paid out, he gave them the money, and they went away. But I think they saved themselves millions in the long run, because these people are nothing but trouble. Right, so what we've got here is this with the Fair Workplace, Fair Job UK. You've got somebody you can turn to help you in dealing with these particular issues in the workplace where you've accidentally employed a nutter, or they've suddenly become full-on critical social justice activists, or you've got problems happening within the workplace. Now, interestingly, we have an audio that you can listen to from one of the founders. And then I've got the links in the Dubris that will help you get in contact with them, because this is the sort of thing that small to medium employers, this is not for the big guys really, small to medium employers, you want outside help, and it's cheap as chips, 190 quid a year it starts at, right? So you want outside help, these are the people. They'll have a bank of resources to help you with dealing with this, with bringing normality back to businesses that are abandoning this nonsense that a business needs to have a political view. It doesn't, it just needs to make money. So they'll help you deal with any problems within that arena by providing you with resources. So go and have a look at both and have a bit of an explore. I think this kind of organisations that are cropping up, I think, are absolutely fascinating. And I hope that you will find it fascinating too, because we need to see more of this. It's why I started the Warrior Teacher Programme. We needed something different for a new future. Well, that's why, because free speech matters and the Enlightenment's important, and people need to start recognising that you are going to be learning for the rest of your life, and it should be as regularised as going to the gym. So I like anything like this. I know it's not my normal stuff, but I hope you will take the time to go and have a look and see what both these businesses are up to. Thank you very much. I'll see thee later. Tartar. Oh yes, become a warrior teacher. Bye bye.
Hi. I'm Richard Palmer from Fair Job UK. Now, there's a problem in the British workplace. The problems our society are currently facing are spilling over into work. Last week, we heard of an incident where two employees had a blazing row about the situation in Gaza in front of their customers. Increasingly, people are very vocal about their political opinions, intolerant of others' views and opinions, and forget there's a time and place for these discussions, and that time is not the workplace, where we all need to get on with each other. Now, you may not have any interest in social issues like gender ID, Gaza, BLM, climate change, but can you say the same thing for your employees? How would you manage a dispute at work about things that got nothing to do with your work? Fire those guilty and risk an employment tribunal? Or take measures to ensure that such disputes don't happen in the first place? From an affordable £190 per year, Fair Job UK gives you the tools and support to reset employer-employee and colleague-colleague relationships, remove political activism and intolerance from the workplace, and restore harmony and teamwork. Doing this now helps prevent situations getting out of control. Membership just starts at £190 per year for our smallest employers. And with 15% off at the moment, there's never been a better time to join. Protect your business. Join Fair Job UK. Visit www.fairjob.co.uk for more information.